Let's talk about postpartum sex, what's normal, what's not, and why you might want to wait more than 6 weeks before resuming intercourse after giving birth. Welcome back to Every Mama's Midwife. If you're new, my name's Jess. I'm a certified nurse midwife and infertility mom, and I just had my second baby about 14 weeks ago. If you're interested in all things related to pregnancy, breastfeeding, and mom life, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for weekly videos. I was inspired to make this video because I have seen a lot of TikToks lately about guys pouncing on their wives after they get cleared at their 6-week postpartum visit, and I just worry that it's setting a lot of couples up with unrealistic expectations. As always, if you have any specific concerns, please touch base with your healthcare provider. Some of you may be ready to resume intercourse at 6 weeks postpartum. This is a question that I routinely ask my patients at their 6-week checkup, and I find it's about 50-50. So about half of my patients have already had intercourse, and if they have, I just ask how it went, and for the most part, it usually goes fine. If it didn't, the number one complaint I get is that it felt raw or even sandpapery. This is because if you're breastfeeding or even just pumping, your body is in a low estrogen state. Estrogen is the hormone that keeps our vaginas elastic and, for lack of a better word, moist. So while you're breastfeeding, it is common for your vagina to feel more dry and to need way more lube than you normally would. I always tell patients it's like a sneak peek at what menopause is going to feel like. The best thing you can do is use a generous amount of lube. I usually recommend coconut oil because oil-based lube is going to stick around better than a water-based lube. If your vaginal mucosa is really dry, it's going to absorb that water-based lubrication really quickly. Most people have coconut oil in their kitchens, and the stuff you have in your kitchen is totally fine. That being said, if you're using condoms for birth control, you want to avoid oil-based lube because oil-based lube can break the condom. If you use more lube and it still feels really uncomfortable, you can talk to your healthcare provider about a prescription for vaginal estrogen cream. The great thing about vaginal estrogen cream is that it's localized to the vagina, so you're not going to have systemic all-over absorption, so it will not decrease your milk supply. As for the reasons why you may want to wait more than 6 weeks, there are a few. First, if you had a really bad tear. If you had a 3rd or 4th degree tear, meaning that you tore into your rectum, you may want to wait 8 weeks or even 12 weeks before resuming intercourse. In general, if things still feel tender at 6 weeks, you should probably wait. Reason number 2 is if you're still having vaginal bleeding. While most women will finish bleeding by 6 weeks postpartum, every once in a while I see someone who bleeds up until about 8 weeks postpartum, and I find if you resume intercourse before you're done bleeding, it just really tends to prolong your postpartum bleeding. And reason number 3 is if you are still just getting 2 to 3 hour stretches of sleep at night, which is normal at this point, you may want to prioritize sleep over intercourse. And you might be rolling your eyes and think, yeah, Jess, that's really obvious. But I cannot tell you how many women I have talked to who are just in tears at their 6-week postpartum visit about how exhausted and tired they feel, and then turn around and tell me they're also having painless sex. Making sure you're getting as much sleep as you can is one of the best things you can do to support your mood. So if the baby is content enough for you to be having sex, you could probably be sleeping. Finally, I want to talk about low sex drive, but please give this video a thumbs up if you found this information helpful so far. All right, so low sex drive, also known as low libido, is another really common postpartum complaint. And I think the fact that it's even a concern just really speaks to how over-sexualized our culture is. As women, there's this social expectation for us to be sexy all of the time. This pressure to get your body back or lose the baby weight as quickly as possible. But when you stop and think about it, if your period hasn't come back yet, then your biggest subconscious motivation to have sex, to procreate and make more babies, isn't there. Of course, your hormones are not telling you to have sex right now. On top of that, if you don't feel good about the way your body looks right now, you probably don't want to take your clothes off. If you're super tired because you're up all night with the baby, you probably don't have energy for sex. If there is a baby on you all of the time and you feel really touched out, you might not want to be intimate with your partner. All of these feelings are normal, and they do not last forever. It's natural for your sex drive to wax and wane throughout your life, and it's okay if you don't have much of a sex drive right now. Again, this may seem obvious to some people, but it breaks my heart when women make an appointment with me at 3 months postpartum because they have a low sex drive and they think that there's something wrong with them. On the flip side, you may find that your sex drive is through the roof initially postpartum. The oxytocin that you release when you're breastfeeding can make you feel really frisky. This is certainly a less common experience, but it does happen. Every postpartum experience is different, and what happened for you with one baby might not be what happens for you every time. I tell patients that if sex isn't comfortable within about 2 to 3 attempts, then they should come back and make an appointment with me because they may need a prescription for vaginal estrogen cream or a referral for pelvic floor physical therapy. If you have any intimacy questions that I didn't answer, please drop them in the comments. You can also let me know what you might want to hear about next. Thank you so much for watching.